Good morning. How's everyone doing today? Awesome. Got the thumbs up. All right. I would first like to thank Evan today for that wonderful poem. He was a little bit nervous today, so he... I don't know if you could tell at the beginning, he was a little bit nervous, so... I thought that he did a wonderful job, and he did a wonderful selection. It was a great poem. Just listening to the meaning of it, it really kind of impressed upon me how deep of an understanding that he kind of has of Buddhism, but I just thought he did such a great job, so I wanted to mention that. Good to be back here. It's good to see that Stevie's back. I was talking to one of my cousins a little bit about my dogs, and dog food came up, and she was like, oh, you should give a Dharma talk on dog food. And so I was like, I don't know if I could swing that, but then I thought, challenge accepted. So, my dog has a bad habit of eating some things that he probably shouldn't be eating, things that aren't dog food. So I've been trying to figure out what it was that I could do to help it so that he would be eating only dog food. Went online, looked at some different things, and saw that there's this specific dog food for dogs with maybe they have not enough vitamins, maybe they're hungry and so they need a food that'll keep them full longer, or maybe they're just eating a little bit too quickly. So I tried to find some stuff that would help to alleviate these problems. How many of you have dogs at home? Okay, good amount of people. How about like cats? Okay, seems like a little bit more dog people than cat people. Anything else? Like a turtle, fish, chickens, lizard, turtle, chicken, chickens, lots of chickens. Very good. So, we all seem to have some kind of pet in some shape or form, or, I don't know, are chickens pets? Yeah? Yeah, okay, all right, yeah, chickens are pets, all right. So, we have some kind of pets at home, some kind of animals. How many of you talk to your pets at home? All right, just about everyone. What kind of things do you say to them? No. Come inside. Cut it out. For me, it's always get out of the kitchen. Always looking around for something to eat, but it's dangerous because there's like hot stuff, knives. All right, so we talk to our pets. We think, that they understand us. How many of you have had a pet talk back to you? What do they say? They just looked at you, heard a bark and a hiss. Oh. Bird, yeah, bird can talk back to you. Chickens probably look at you. So the animals respond, and I think maybe sometimes as owners, sometimes as people who really are around our pets, we tend to see their tendencies, and maybe we think that we understand what they're trying to tell us, or we think we know what they're thinking. But in reality, we really have no idea. They could be trying to say something, they could be trying to express something to us, and we are completely getting it wrong. And there's really no way for us to have that communication because we don't have a similar language. We aren't able to actually talk to each other to express our feelings. And in the same way, it's hard for us to really express our feelings to the pet, especially when we're trying to do what's best for them, right? So maybe if I went home, and so this dog, the one that's kind of even the wrong thing, his name is Reggie. If I come to Reggie and I tell him, like, you know what? The doctor says, you're kind of overweight, I can't be feeding you so much, so I'm going to be giving you a little bit of less food. He's not going to be like, okay, he's just going to realize that he doesn't have enough food to make him full and he's going to go eat something that's not supposed to. Or if I tell him, I understand that the food tastes real good, but you got to slow down, you're holding too much air and it's not helping your digestion, he's not going to have any idea of what I'm talking about. So, because I'm unable to really express to him what it is that I need, it's hard for me, and I get very frustrated. This kind of problem doesn't only apply to people and animals. It also happens with people and other people. Even though we share this language, even though we're able to communicate our feelings, oftentimes it can be misunderstood. It could be lost in translation. It could also be be just something that we're trying to express that because of either cultural or other means, it's hard for the other person to actually understand what we're talking about. And sometimes we make the problem even more difficult because we don't actually say what it is that we mean. So I think within, let's see, a lot of people here, probably because it's a, Jodi Shinshu started out as a cultural church, there's a lot of people here who are Japanese American. And I don't know if you come into this problem, but when someone offers you something, the correct response is to politely refuse, even if it's something that you really, really want. Because what's supposed to happen, this game that you play, is that the person who's offering is supposed to offer again. And you refuse again, and you offer again, and then you say, oh, all right, okay, I'll take it. And that's this kind of game that we play, and if you don't know it, then it can be very hard to communicate. And I really came into this problem when I was actually spending one of my summers out this way in Newcastle with my grandparents. And my banchan, my grandma, she would go on this 2-mile walk, just kind of around, just to keep moving. So we'd go out even though it was hot, and we'd walk around, and sometimes we'd stop at some of her friends' house. And so we went to one of her friend's house, and she invited us in. She was going to give us refreshments, right? Because it was hot outside. I was like, oh yeah. So does anyone, do you want any water? And so I said, no, I'm okay. Just, okay. And I'm here dying because we've been walking for a mile. It's like sweat dripping down my face. My throat is so dry, but I can't be like, oh, just kidding. I actually want it. But she was really nice, and she came out with like sodas and stuff. So oh, thank goodness. So I was able to have something to quench my thirst. But there is this issue there that oftentimes we don't say what it is that we need, and that can also cause conflict. But I think probably one of the most difficult and important things to understand when communicating is communicating with ourselves. How many of you talk to yourselves? Okay, good, it's not just me. I'm not just crazy. I don't know, I'll have conversations mostly inside my head. I have to be really angry with myself to actually talk to myself out loud. But I'll have these conversations in my head about thinking, oh, what should I do? Should I do this? Maybe I should do that. And it's kind of evolved over time. Sometimes I'd say we, and sometimes you. It kind of changes, depending on the mood you're in, or I guess what you're trying to tell yourself. But we have this communication within each of us, and oftentimes we don't know what it is that we're trying to feel. We don't know what it is that we're trying to say. Probably the easiest explainable answer for this is when somebody asks, what are you in the mood for dinner? And immediately kind of think like, well, I don't know what I'm in the mood for dinner. Or maybe everyone knows exactly what they want and I'm just indecisive. Does anyone else run into that problem? Yeah? Okay, yes, Evan has that problem. So we have this kind of internal communication, and it's very difficult for us to figure out what it is that we want. And because of that, it's hard for us to go about through our lives. It's hard for us to make very important decisions when we have to weigh these two options. It's hard for us to figure out different things when we don't understand what it is exactly that we want in our lives. We don't have that kind of direction all the time within us. So when we're able to turn to something exterior, whether it's friends, family, it helps to get that kind of advice. And of course, at the Buddhist temple, we can come to Sunday service, we can read books about the teachings, but we can turn towards Buddhism to see any kind of guidance in our lives. And the main thing for me, understanding the message that that Amida Buddha was trying to impart upon us, that the guidance to our life, the direction that we should be taking, is going towards the compassion of all beings. And this compassion towards all beings also includes each and every one of us. So looking at ourselves, seeing how we can be compassionate to ourselves, see how we can be compassionate to other beings, this will help to guide our lives and hopefully to alleviate some of this confusion, alleviate some of this stress that we're giving ourselves when we're trying to figure out what direction to take to our lives. Actually, thinking about that, I actually don't know how to bring that back to dogma. Anyway, I guess if you're a dog food, weed, I don't know. Anyway, all right. We'll just leave it at that. Maybe we join me in Gasho. I was just talking to Kuishik earlier about how hard it is to come up here and bomb a joke. That was pretty